can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Debby Campbell Goodtime Show. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, our guest today, he's had 6 Grammys, including one for Best Male Pop Vocal. He's had 2 Dove Awards. And of course, he had a CMA Single of the Year award for Hey, Won't You Play Another Somebody Done Somebody Wrong song. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, BJ Thomas. So BJ,
No problem.
Thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So you were actually born in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I was born in Hugo, Oklahoma. It was kind of a necessary thing. My grandmother delivered me, and my father's mother, and she just happened to live in Oklahoma at that time, and so she delivered me, and I spent about 2 weeks in Oklahoma, and then of course we all grew up and lived in Houston.
Right. Now, was your grandma a midwife?
No, I guess she was in a way, but she did deliver me, so I'm not sure. She could have been a midwife. That's a good question. I've never investigated that.
So now your influences. Well, first of all, you started singing in a church choir. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, they kind of tell me that I always sang, even when I was just a little guy, and then we moved quite often, and about half the time we lived close to a church. Of course, the churches are always nearby,
right?
And we kind of gravitated, my brother and I, to the church because of the music, and of course to hang out with the young people and things. And so I kind of and I'd already been into music because my dad was a huge country fan, and so I'd always, since I was like 6 or 7, idolized Hank Williams and Ernest Tubb and all those, Red Foley and all those guys,
right?
On the Grand Ole Opry and in country. And I started singing in the church and became the youth song leader or whatever you would call it.
Right.
And so I sang numerous times in the church, never really thinking that, I was a singer or anything. And
right. It was more of a curricular activity. Curricular activity.
Yeah. It was something to do, to be involved with the other kids and things. And then when I was 15, my brother Jerry had some friends that started a band, and they needed a singer. And he said, "Boy, hey, my brother can sing." So he took me over there to their practice or rehearsal or whatever you'd call it.
Right.
And I got up and sang a Buddy Holly song or whatever, and I started singing with them because it wasn't going to be a choice that I was going to make, because I wasn't about to get up in front of a bunch of people all the time.
Right.
But as it happened, I started singing with that band. And
was that the Triumphs?
The Triumphs. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you recorded a couple things with them, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually had my first million seller with them. We had it with "I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry," and then we had a song called "Mama."
Right.
And,
that was on Scepter, right?
It was on Scepter.
Right.
And then we kind of parted ways in that off of those songs, I was getting offers to go on the road, and actually my first tour on "I'm So Lonesome," I went out and worked the James Brown tour.
Oh, my goodness!
And so I said, "Well, hey, I've got an offer to go on this tour," and they kind of said, "Well, they were going to college, and a lot of them were going to college in the band, and they were working for their dads." And they said, "Well, we can't go. We're not going to go." And I said, "Well, I'm going to go." And so I went. And we remained friends. I still talk to a couple of the Triumphs every now and then. But I went out to, of course, and then ended up with Dick Clark. And
right.
And that's how I got started.
Well, so you also said that your soulfulness and the way you put emotion and emphasize in a song, your influences were Jackie Wilson and Little Richard.
Yeah, well, I couldn't really sing like Little Richard, but I was. There was a Jackie Wilson record called "To Be Loved" that I heard when I was I don't know 13, 14, 15 or so, something like that, and it really opened my mind to the emotion and the feelings that were in music. And it really kind of was an epiphany for me that I realized, oh gosh, I'm feeling all this emotion from that song, and I had felt a lot of emotion with the gospel music, and that's why I love the church music and stuff.
Right.
And you know, I happened to meet Bobby Bland. I don't know if you've heard of
I'm not familiar with him.
Bobby Blue Bland was one of the greatest singers of his time, and he was a very soulful guy. And I happened to meet him when I was about 14, 13 or 14, and I got to a place where he was singing, and they let me in the back door, and I met Mr. Bland, and so then I saw him as often as I could, and he was really good to me, and he had a lot to do with me beginning to think about singing. You know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty close friends with Jackie's son, Bobby.
Oh yeah, Bobby, great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby. In fact, Bobby did a duet with me on my tribute album to Dad.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
I've got to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. You remember
Yeah, Bobby's a wonderful guy.
He
And
is. I
of
love
course, he
him.
looks a lot like his dad, and
Yep.
beautiful guy.
Yeah. We've been friends for many years. Yeah. He did the remember Shoulder to Shoulder that Dad and Tanya did?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby and I did that on my tribute album, so that was pretty
Oh
cool.
man, I bet that was great. I've got
It was a lot of
to
fun.
find it.
So now, when you were on Scepter, that they had quite a roster on that record company, didn't they?
Yeah, they were an R&B label, really. They had you know, Twist and Shout, and then eventually they had Louie Louie, and of course they had Dionne Warwick, Chuck Jackson, and Tommy Hunt. A lot of great R&B singers, and
Well, they
I
had
kind of got
Ronnie
on that
Millsap
label.
too, didn't they? Ronnie Millsap.
I think at one point for one record or so they had him. At some point, I'm not really that familiar with when he was there. But I had one of my guys I grew up with, was like a brother to me, Steve Tyrell. And Steve had gotten a job. Steve was very instrumental in breaking Dionne Warwick's first record, and he had subsequently gotten a job with Scepter Records. And then when I had Lonesome and it went number one in Houston, he was instrumental in getting them to sign me, and that's how I got with the label. And they were a great label, and they had a lot of great artists.
And then I read that Dionne Warwick, was she the one that introduced you to Burt Bacharach?
Well, I would see, I would see Burt every now and then at the Scepter Records offices, and she might have been. I don't know. Maybe you're referring to some interview I did, and she might have been the first one to introduce me to Burt. That could be correct.
Now
she was great. I loved her.
So now, I'm So Lonesome. Did that become gold?
Lonesome was a gold record. And I have a lot of, a lot of times, if you're, how do I put this? If your record company is in financial problems, and a lot of times they don't register your songs with the RIAA. So I've had a lot more gold records than are in the book, but I'm So Lonesome was my first one.
Right. Now, okay, so explain that to me. If your record company are they like in financial problems, they don't register? Are you supposed to? Does it cost money to register songs?
Well, let me just I probably shouldn't have brought it up, but
no, I just don't know how that works. Yeah,
it's like it's a kind of a legendary thing in our business that no one with Motown Records ever had any go records because they never were registered with RIAA. And that's what happened to me after my first couple of records. Scepter went into financial problems,
Right.
and if you're going to get a gold record, you have to be registered with the
Okay.
RIAA and be officially certified. And if they are having problems paying you your royalties, sometimes you don't get registered
Right.
because once you're certified gold, then they got to pay you on the gold. So
Okay.
anyway, it's a
Yeah,
business thing.
I don't know.
Most of us from back then are from the generation of music where not paying the royalties was the way they operated.
Right.
Was um, and so some of my Go records aren't exactly uh, official, but I've been very lucky having quite a few. So
You think
that
I'd
I'm
have
proud of.
more, you think I'd know a little bit more about this, but I really don't.
Yeah, well, you don't need to. I mean, I don't know why I brought that up, but
No,
I
that's
know
fine.
I know that if I look in the official RIAA book,
Right.
they have me for 3 million sellers, and I know that that's way short.
Oh yeah, I mean all the songs that
So
you've had. Oh my goodness, yeah.
yeah,
So Hooked
yeah,
on a Feeling, that was your second million selling record, is that right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hooked
And
on
then
a
of
feeling.
course the big one, the big
Now,
one,
of course, then I had Raindrops, and Hooked
right.
on a Feeling played a big role in me getting Raindrops, along with,
Oh,
of course,
okay.
my buddy Steve Tyrell was influential in that too. But I was selling records then, and when Bert was looking for a guy to do Raindrops for the Butch Cassidy thing, I and of course I was on the same label that he was involved with, and Scepter. So I was kind of in the right place at the right time, and I was selling records, and so I got that shot, and that's been a beautiful thing in my life for a long time.
It was, and it beat out Dad. It beat out True Grit.
Yeah, well, we were in the same dressing room at the Academy Awards show that year in 1970, and yeah, he was nominated, and of course I was too, and we happened to win, but your dad was an awesome guy. I loved to work with him, and he was a beautiful, beautiful singer.
Yep, and Beautiful Soul, he sure was. But now your song Raindrops, that's been featured in so many movies, not just that one. I mean, Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I was in Forrest Gump and Spider-Man 2 and various movies, and that's been a great thing. And of course, we were recently um, honored that Mr. Bacharach and Hal David and myself and the record Raindrops went into the Grammy Hall of Fame, and so that record has had a beautiful life of its own. So
Right. Do you get a Grammy if it goes into the Grammy Hall of Fame?
I've been thinking that there should be some kind of award or plaque or record or thing, but I haven't gotten it yet.
Well, you better make that call.
I'm gonna check them out. Yeah,
Now, I want to talk a little bit about you've acted some.
yeah. I've been in a couple of movies. It's not something I ever really pursued because I actually in my I've always stayed so busy with one nighters and various things that going away for 3 or 4 months to do an acting thing just never really appealed to me
Right,
uh, because I'd already was not home enough really,
right.
and so Gloria and I we had some discussions about that, and we decided that hey, maybe I would just stick to the music. So I probably could have had some done some more acting, and
It's a
but
tedious job, isn't it?
huh?
It's very tedious work. Dad, that's what Dad
Yeah,
always said. He said you do a
it's
lot of
kind of
sitting around.
it's kind of all day for like 3 minutes,
Right,
but I enjoyed the times that I got the chance to do it, and it's a fairly healthy lifestyle, and it was
right. You
always
did.
fun.
What was the movie Jory? That's the one that was that Robbie Benson's first movie.
That was Robbie Benson's first movie. I played a guy named Jocko in that movie. John Marley super friend of mine, a great actor, the guy that was in The Godfather that found the horse's head in his bed, John Marley. He was in that movie, and we had a great time doing that. And then there was a Jake's Corner, and that I did a few years back with uh, Jeff Santo, Ron Santo's son. He's
Okay.
a writer and a director, and we did that in Arizona. And
Is
all
that
those
where
movie things are cool.
that had how many of your songs were you recut something to go in that movie, didn't you? It was a rock.
I did some new things. I did about 6 or 7 songs that ran in the movie, along with a rock and roll lullaby that I went in the studio with Stephen Dorff, and we there were quite a few songs that Steve had written that we recorded that were on the soundtrack in that movie. So,
Was When the Hero Dies, is that part of that movie or is that something else? Okay.
it was written by Andrew Dorff, Stephen Dorff's son, and that was a great song. It should find its way out there sometime.
Yeah, especially nowadays. I mean, it would probably be very
Yeah, I think it's really apropos for today. I have a session coming up in Muscle Shoals that I've had to, of course, reschedule.
right.
Uh, that we're going to take a look at When the Hero Dies and possibly record it.
Yeah, I was
Great
reading up
song.
on that, and it seems like it would be very fitting, definitely, for right now.
Yeah, it seems timely.
So now, okay, let's go back to Scepter. How many years were you with Scepter?
I don't know exactly. I guess I signed with them in '65, and I was with them. Uh, I went with the ABC in '75 when I did wrong. Somebody done somebody wrong song. So I
Right,
was with them a number of years, and they were a great company. They just they had financial problems, which kind of spoiled the situation. But
right. Now that's a long song, long title of a song. Wasn't that like the first song to go #1 that had that long of a title?
oh, I've heard that, but I'm not sure that's correct. But it's uh, somebody done some. Hey, won't you play? Another somebody did done somebody wrong song. So it's quite a few words. But it may
That
be the
is
most. I don't know.
exactly, I know. And that went gold. So now
Is it?
that's
Yeah.
4.
Hmm.
Yep. 4th gold.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And then you started, I think you took a break and you turned to gospel, right? So you started doing gospel albums.
Well, back in those days, I was having my problems. I had as a lot of people in that generation, I was having alcohol, drug problems, and I had kind of wrong song was #1, and I was I was number 1,000. I was kind of at the bottom of my involvement with my addictions and my problems, and
Even though you were flying
uh,
high. I mean, even though
yeah,
your
my
career's flying high, yeah.
I can remember just personally, I was in probably the worst shape of my life when Wrong Song was #1. So,
Hmm,
you know, I guess that's the way life works. But
right,
I happened to uh, actually, it was kind of a spiritual awakening that my entire family had, Gloria and myself. And that kind of turned me around on that and helped me to, get through those addictions and then during that time, I pretty much stopped working for not too long, but a couple of years maybe, and we just paid attention. We adopted a little baby, Nora, our daughter,
oh,
and
yeah,
Gloria,
that's right, I read that. North Korea, you got her from North Korea,
and
right?
from Seoul, Korea,
Wow,
and
wow.
Gloria got pregnant, and we had Aaron, and so we were doing family things, and then I you know I got an offer to do a gospel record with Word Records, and I did this gospel record, and it became the first platinum uh, album in gospel, and it kind of pushed me into another kind of area of my career, and so I was involved in gospel music for a number of years.
Right.
That was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, you had those 2 Dove Awards. So that was with what Chris Christian, right? Because you went on to do another album with him, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, one or two, and of course I was very lucky with the Grammys, and I won the 5 Grammys, and so it was good times, great memories, and I loved doing that music.
Yeah, Dad did too. I know he did. So then now I read that you were a member of the Grand Ole Opry. You were the 60th member. How old were you then when you became
Oh,
inducted?
I don't know. I joined in '82.
Okay.
I'm not sure what number I was, but yeah, I don't. I'm not heavily involved with the Opry at this point, but because I'm not, I'm actually. I need to go in and record some things, but I'll go by every now and then, and they'll let me sing a song or two. But yeah, being involved with that was kind of, I kind of did it for my dad. My dad
Right.
loved the Opry, and he kind of, we kind of grew up listening to the Opry every Saturday night, and so I was recording with Pete Drake at that time, and he wanted me to be a member of the Opry, and he, really helped make that happen. And all the Opry people are they're legendary heroes to me, and so I've always enjoyed being involved
What are the
with the Grand Ole Opry.
qualifications? What are the qualifications to be in the Grand Ole Opry?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's discretionary from them. If they approve of you and would like for you to be a member, it's just up to them.
Right.
So
And
uh,
you probably have to give them so many days a year or something, I would imagine. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, there kind of used to be a requirement where you needed to show up a certain amount of times.
uh-huh.
Uh, always been so busy on the road that I don't think I ever showed up enough. But I did.
Right.
There have been times when I was there quite often.
Well, then you had another hit, As Long as We've Got Each Other. That was what, the theme song?
Yeah, I was home one evening, and I answered the phone, and I'm trying to think of what year exactly it was. Um,
I don't
anyway,
have that year down,
and it was a
sorry.
guy. It was Stephen Dorff was on the phone, and he said he was writing a song with the John Bettis, and they're both in the Hall of Fame, Songwriters Hall of Fame. And he said, the song, we're writing a song for a pilot, a TV pilot, and the song is coming out so much like a B.J. Thomas song. He said, we want to know if you'll sing it, because if you'll sing it, we're going to keep going in that direction. But if you don't sing it, we're going to have to change it up because it just
Right.
sounds just like you. And I said, well, hey, I'm flattered by that, and I'd be glad to do it. I'd love to do it. So we recorded the song out in California for the TV pilot, Growing Pains, and it just was an instant hit record. I mean, a hit TV show,
Right.
and so that theme probably has been played and heard more than almost any record I've ever done. And that was a lot of fun to be involved with that too.
Now you sang that for the first season, and then the second season, is it the same song that you did it with? Hang on, her name escapes me.
Yeah,
Jennifer
well,
Warren.
Jennifer
Yeah,
Warnes, I
yeah.
cut, I had the theme song just myself for a few years, and then, they every couple of years, few years, they like to change it up a little bit,
Right.
and so then I did a version with Jennifer Warnes, really a great, she's a fantastic singer, a great person, and then eventually I did it with Dusty Springfield,
Hmm.
and that may have been the definitive version. And it got on the all easy listening chart, up top 10 after Dusty was on it, and it was great working with her too. Fantastic legend. But that's been a wonderful song, and it's been a very effective song. People have, they're always asking me to do it, and I oblige them if I can.
Right. And then you all in 2011 you did the halftime show in El Paso.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. What is that the
Maybe.
Sun Bowl?
Yeah,
The
that's the
Sun,
Hyundai Sun Bowl. Yep, yep.
yeah, the Sun Bowl or something. Yeah, I remember. I remember I had worked the night before on on a New Year's Eve thing with Kenny Rogers in Canada,
Okay.
and so then I flew in the next day, and uh, I think we all lip synced. We had pre-recorded that music because of the echo in the stadium. But yeah, that was great.
Wow.
That
So
was fun.
I didn't realize that you could lip sync out there at those things. I don't know. Yeah. Because Dad did
Well,
one.
I know that when I do the anthem at the Cowboy Stadium here, the stadium is so big that
Right,
they require you to pre-record your version. So it's not as
right,
much fun as doing it live, but
right.
the sound is it's so big and so echoey that they like for you to do it where you can lip sync it. So
For the national anthem. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah,
I can understand that. Yeah. So now you've also written your autobiography. You've written two books. So you've written your autobiography. What's the other book?
well, Gloria is a writer, and she wrote a book, and the I guess you're referring to the Home Where I Belong book, but that's been years ago. Was way back. Well, I guess the late '70s. And really, I
Right.
need to write. We need to do another book because
Like just add on to that one?
yeah, to
Maybe?
kind of maybe even go back and approach it from a wider perspective. But you know,
Right.
if anybody wanted us to, we'd do it.
Well, and of course, your voice has been on so many jingles over the years, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Bell. I bet, were those fun doing jingles?
Yeah. I love doing the Coca Cola one was fun. When I first signed with Scepter, I did a couple of beer commercials and things. And we don't
Right,
do anything, but yeah, the commercials are fun, and the Coca Cola was the kind of the best one to do because Ray Charles had done that, and that was really the one I remember the most.
right. How many years did you, I mean, did they keep you doing them for over a period of time or just for 1 year or?
Yeah, it was just when it ran out of steam or whatever, they used
Right,
it for a while, and so it wasn't very long, a couple of years.
right. Okay, so now you've also released another album, The Living Room Sessions. Now, I bet that was fun because you've got some pretty good names on there that sang with you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had my friend Cheryl Nimitz on there. Um, Wait a minute. Yeah, I don't want the names to slip me.
Well, you had a
Sarah
lot. What?
Cheryl Nimitz is her mother, but I had a young girl, a great friend of mine by the name of Sarah Nimitz.
Okay.
Can't believe and we sang "Hooked on a Feeling," and of course there
Right,
were a lot of other great singers on that. It was a lot of fun to do. We never really wanted to re-record our hit records, but they asked us to do them acoustically, and okay, it felt kind of interesting, and so we did it. And Keb Mo, I did a thing with Keb Mo and Richard Marx,
Lyle Lovett, Vince
Vince
Gill.
Gill, and
Yeah. What
yeah,
songs did you do with Vince?
I did. Just can't help believing.
Okay.
And he played the mandolin.
Oh,
He
wow.
didn't sing, but he
Yeah.
played the
Oh,
mandolin.
really? Okay.
What are And he's one of the all-time great guys and great musicians in country history. And so he put he put his talent on there, and I was
Yes.
always appreciated that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to do, and the album was quite successful. And really, I hadn't done anything since then except I had a session planned this year in Muscle Shoals, and of course the pandemic has disrupted and delayed a lot of a lot of things, you know.
Right.
So we're going to get it done as soon as we can.
Well, in
I'm
2017, they re-released what? Real Gone Music on that was the record label, right? Real Gone Music, and they released the
yeah,
complete Columbia singles. Yeah,
yeah, exactly, yeah. And that was a first time thing for those songs. So it was good to
right,
see those songs come out. But you know, the compilations are kind of done without much involvement from me. But I know that it was put out, but they kind of already have the songs, and so they put those things together on their own. But I always appreciated that record because most of those songs have not been out in a
in a long time.
together on an
Right,
album. You know.
right, yeah. So I want to ask
And
you about a fun.
are you still recording and
Well, the only one I did while Dad was in the Alzheimer home, I went in and I wanted to do a tribute CD to him with his songs
uh,
that I love. Like there
uh,
weren't necessarily his hits, but songs
okay,
that I
right,
grew up with
yeah.
that I really love. And so I did that
Oh,
tribute.
surely I
That's
knew that. Yeah, yeah,
oh yeah, it's been gosh 3 years I guess. It took me a while because then
yeah,
Dad passed away while I was in the middle of it, and so it took a
yeah.
really hard time to go back in and sing because every time I'd go in the studio and try to sing one of them, I'd break down. So I just took a while to get
Oh
it out.
yeah,
But I'll
yeah,
send you one. I'll get everything
yeah.
from
Please,
Scott. And I will. I would love to.
yeah,
Well, so now you and your wife has been married a very long time.
yeah. 52 years this year, and
Oh my gosh!
so yeah, it's been great. Gloria and I've had we've had a dramatic, interesting life, and certainly thankful. We're so thankful for each other right now that we're being able to spend the quarantine together
Right.
and have each other during this time, and we've had a pretty good time, really.
Yeah. And then you got married in Vegas, just in a little chapel, right?
Yeah, we got married at the Chapel of the Bells, and I think there's been quite a few famous people married there. But I had 3 days off in '68, and I had 3 days. So we decided to get married, and we flew out and they got married at Chapel of the Bells. And then she went with me, and I went back on the road. But it was kind of it was a beautiful ceremony. We both cried and whatever,
Right.
but it seemed it stuck, you know.
52 years. So were you school sweethearts or because 52 years is a
Uh
long time, man. I'm telling you.
yeah, we were probably going together at least a year before we got married,
Right.
and she was like it was a love at first sight thing. I met her. I was at a club where I had performed the night before, and she happened to be there. And I don't know whether
Was that with the
to.
Triumphs? Was that with when you were with the Triumphs or was that after?
It was after.
Okay.
Well, when was it? When was it? It was I had lonesome and that kind of thing,
Okay.
and
So you
I
were
think it
just
was
beginning, yeah.
'67 was when we met,
Wow. So
and
that was right at the start, yeah.
we kind of loved each other from the first, and
So
we've had a wonderful
she's
life.
been there with you right through everything.
Yeah, she's been right there, and through all the hard times, and it's been a beautiful thing. She always could see me for who I was and help me understand a few things about life that I might have never have gotten without her. So,
Right. I want to ask you, is Tom still with you, Tom Wild?
Tom Wild is my band leader.
You know,
He's with me.
he played on my CD. Did you
Oh,
know
he
that?
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I knew all about that CD, and now just in the moment,
Yeah.
I hadn't remembered. But yeah, Tom is a great player. He's been with me quite a while, and
He's
great
such
guy.
a nice man. What a sweet, sweet man. I mean,
He
and I
really
enjoyed
is
it.
a
Yeah.
great.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
when we were in the studio together, BJ, they said all the guys, because I had like Montgomery Gentry's drummer. I had
Uh-huh.
Tom. I had gosh, and see now I'm going to escape the names right here. But the keyboard player played on actually like 3 or 4 of Dad's albums. Wings of Victory. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he played on the original leader of the band.
Uh-huh. Oh,
And I
okay,
had the
cool.
bass player from the Musicians Union.
Hmm.
I know, but they said, Debbie, thank you so much. You know, because we've got like Moon is a Harsh Mistress on there. They said, we haven't played chords like this in years. You know, I mean,
Well, yeah, that's the one great thing about Nashville. All the beautiful musicians and players and the great guys they have there, and that was great that you got to have them on
yeah.
your album.
I
I
mean, it
think
was
that was
really cool.
fun.
Of course, they played on Phoenix. And then I did an Alzheimer's song. And then I did a song that Dad had been wanting to record forever, but he never got around to it. So I recorded it, you know. But I'll
Hmm.
definitely send you one today.
Yeah, please, please.
So do you still play Vegas? Do you still do
Yeah,
shows in Vegas?
yeah, I've been doing the Golden Nugget for since 1980,
Right,
and sometimes I go out twice a year to the Golden Nugget. Of course, all that now is on hold, but we love the Nugget. It's been remodeled, and it's been a great place for us to perform over the years. And I've worked
right.
various other places also in Vegas.
Hmm.
I love Vegas. A lot of fun out there.
Yeah. So is there anything else that BJ wants to achieve, or do you think you just pretty much happy just continuing on singing until you're not singing
Well,
anymore?
I'm still going to sing as long as I feel like I can do it at a level that satisfies me. I still, as I've mentioned, muscle shows, and I'm still interested every now and then, not necessarily recording uh, to be really radio again, but just you still have I still have the burning desire and the feeling to create. I love to be in the studio, so we're going to go do some things in the studio. We've got some really good songs, and we'll put them online and make them available. And I'm definitely not I'm not on the road 300 days a year anymore,
Right.
or that kind of thing. So uh, there is a natural progression of maybe it maybe it's slowed down some, but I still do about 60, 70 one-nighters a year, and that keeps me as busy as I want to be.
Does
And
Gloria go with you?
I'm kind of at the place in my career where I realize music is all about who's new and who's the next guy and whatever. And I think music is always evolving and moving along at a great pace, and
Right.
we always have some beautiful artists and musicians coming, and so I'm glad to have been a part of what I think was maybe the greatest generation of music from America, the '60s, '70s.
I agree. I
I think
totally
that
agree.
music was the best, and I always say in my show, I always say I think that the black entertainers, writers, performers did it as well and better uh, than anyone in most cases.
Right.
So I always admired the black entertainers, the R&B singers. Of course, the great Charlie Pride was one of the best country singers
Yeah.
of all time. So that's the guys I always looked up to and wanted to be like, and not necessarily pattern myself after, but I could see that the
It's just what
African
you felt.
American entertainers were really putting their emotion and their soul into what they were doing, and I always admired that, and I try to do that, to do that same thing. So.
Right. Yeah, that's what I when I was listening to the Stylistics, the Shy Lights.
Yeah, my God, of course, I loved it. I had some of the great, the Chuck Berry, uh, Little Richard, all those great guys. Of course, Jackie Wilson. I worked with Jackie Wilson and James Brown. All those guys were beautiful. Sam Cooke, those guys, and they were the original inspirations. And of course, down
Right.
through the years, we've had Al Green and the people you mentioned. We've been very lucky to have them.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, does Gloria go with you sometimes?
She used to travel with me all the time. But she'll go with me, like if I've got kind of something kind of special to do
Yeah.
or something like that. She's always there with me. So.
Of course, you're probably on a big old tour bus, right?
I took the bus for years, but I'm not really. I don't really do the bus that much anymore because I
Okay.
don't really go out for
Right.
extended stretches of time. I'll go out 2, 3, 4 one-nighters at a time. So
Right.
mostly now I'm flying,
Okay.
and I'll do a bus if I have to.
Yeah. So now, when you're at home, do you listen to music much when you're at home?
Yeah, I've got a stereo player. I like to hear the music, that way, and I listen to the music. I'll go out and loosen up my voice and listen to some things I like and sing along with some things. And
Like who?
I'm
Like, what
still
are you
still
playing?
very interested in music, even though it's kind of not in my thing anymore.
Right. Well, what are you playing when you're listening, warming up your voice?
Well, a lot of times I'll just put on one of my records
Okay.
and sing along
Right.
with my stuff, just especially during this time when I'm not working, to just keep it loose.
Right. Yeah. Well, BJ, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you. And sorry about our internet screw up the other day. It went out, and then so we had to
Well, no, that's no big deal. I'm here. I'm just here, not doing much. So
I'm just glad we got to
it
talk to
was
you.
fine.
Yeah,
And I was
absolutely.
looking forward to talking to you. Of course, we're friends, and I've admired and been involved with your dad all those years, and all the respect in the world to him. And of course, I did the Good Time Hour back at the first of my career, and he was always been a very important guy, and super, super nice, super talented. And of course, another guy that I recorded with and admired a lot was Jimmy Webb, and we did a salute to Jimmy Webb at Carnegie Hall a couple of
Mhm.
years ago, and it was almost like a salute to Glen Campbell because Glen had done so much
Right.
Jimmy Webb music. So
Right.
just to have a chance to talk about Glen and
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy's feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. And those raindrops are falling on my head, and they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done, sleeping on the job. Those raindrops keep falling on my head, they keep falling. But there's one thing I know, the blues they send to meet me won't defeat me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me.
to be interviewed by you is
Oh,
been
you're
really
so
cool.
sweet.
I
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Yeah, Dad came
Thank
from
you.
that era, like you said, that era of music,
Oh yeah,
really had a
man.
lot to do with so much.
Yeah. I mean, those records that Glenn made are some of the best made records of all time, obviously. So,
Right. All right. So I have to ask you, because we had a little visitor during our interview. What kind of dog do you have?
a Jack Russell,
Oh,
he's a Jack Russell.
I couldn't
He,
tell
he
because he jumped up on the back of the couch and was sitting there for a while. So I thought we
yeah,
had to
here
give
he
him
is.
credits.
Yeah, here he is right here. He's always sitting there with me. Let me see if I
What's his name?
can. Atticus.
Atticus. Hello,
I don't know if you
Atticus.
can. I don't know if you can see him
Yeah,
there.
we
Do you
can see him. Yep. We'll have to put him in the credits.
Yeah, we will.
All
Yeah,
right,
well, he's a great
BJ.
dog. But
Yeah.
anyway, hey, great. All my
Thank
love
you,
to
sweetheart.
I
You
appreciate it.
guys stay safe.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye.
Well, that's our show for today. Thank you, BJ, and everyone watching. And we'll see you next week on another episode of the Debby Campbell Goodtime Show. Stay safe, be kind, and wear your mask.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy, his feet are too big for his bed. Nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, and they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done. He's sleeping on the job. Those raindrops are falling on my head, and they keep falling. But there's one thing I know, the blues they send to greet me won't defeat me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. The cry is not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free.